It's 2 a.m. You hear that dreaded whimper over the baby monitor. You walk in, put your hand on their little forehead, and yep, they're burning up. And your very first thought after, "Oh no, my poor baby," is, who is calling out of work tomorrow?
The 2 a.m. fever dread. It is so real.
It's the worst. Welcome to the Rising Parent Podcast. I'm Tim.
And I'm Edna.
And today we are diving into a topic that literally every single working parent has faced. We're officially announcing today's episode, the Daycare Sickness Cycle, surviving the first year of constant germs.
Honestly, just hearing the title makes me want to reach for the hand sanitizer. But seriously, this is one of the heaviest, most stressful seasons for families. You feel like you're doing everything wrong, you're missing work, and your kid is just a perpetual runny nose.
Exactly. We're going to unpack why this happens, how to actually handle the sick day decision, and how to survive the workday disruption without burning out your marriage or your career. But before we get into the literal thick of it, and the thick snot, just a quick reminder that new episodes of the Rising Parent Podcast drop every Monday and Friday.
Yes, so make sure you're subscribed so you never miss out on our twice-a-week conversations. Also, we want to briefly mention that we created this podcast to help families, but also to raise funding for our nonprofit mobile food bank, Selfless Outreach.
Absolutely. If you want to support the cause and help us bring food directly to those who need it most, you can head over to selflessoutreach.org. We've also put a link to Selfless Outreach right in the show notes for you. Now, let's get started. All right, Edna, let's talk about the Daycare Sickness Cycle. I feel like in our coaching sessions lately, this is coming up, every other call?
Oh, easily, especially as we move through those seasonal shifts. I have parents calling me literally in tears saying, "Edna, he's been in care for 3 months, and I think he's been healthy for maybe 5 days total."
Yeah, the math never seems to work out in the parent's favor.
No, it really doesn't. And it's so exhausting. When we work with families in those early sleep-deprived months, they finally get the sleep figured out. They finally find a childcare arrangement they like, and then bam, week 2 of daycare, they get the dreaded call from the center director. Come pick them up.
Right, and it just spirals. Let's start with this angle, because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. The whole immune boost theory.
Oh boy, here we go.
You know what I mean. The aunt or the neighbor or the well-meaning coworker who says, "Oh, it's good they're sick now. It builds their immune system so they won't miss any school and kindergarten." Is that actually true, or is that just something we tell ourselves so we don't lose our minds?
Okay, so it's a little bit of both, right? It's complicated. Let's demystify this. There is this claim that daycare illnesses act as this magical shield for elementary school. And yes, exposure to certain viruses does build antibodies. But here's the reality. There are literally hundreds of different strains of the common cold.
Hundreds, like 200 plus.
Exactly. So catching rhinovirus strain A in daycare doesn't magically protect your child from adenovirus strain B in first grade. What does happen is that their little bodies are encountering a massive, diverse microbial environment for the very first time. They were in a fairly sterile bubble at home, and now they're in a room with 10 other toddlers who, let's be honest, lick the toys.
They absolutely lick the toys. They sneeze directly into each other's open mouths. It's wild.
It is. Back when we had our daycare, I used to watch these sweet little toddlers just hand each other half-chewed crackers. As childcare professionals, we sanitized constantly, but you literally cannot catch a sneeze midair.
You can't, and I think for parents, understanding this helps drop the guilt. We had a family we were doing coaching sessions with recently. Let's call them the Hendersons. They had a 2-year-old, and the mom was agonizing, saying, is his immune system compromised? Are we feeding him the wrong things? And I had to step in and say, no, his immune system is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's reacting.
Yes, fever, mucus, coughing, those are signs of an immune system working, not failing. It's just that his immune system is a rookie. It's in training camp.
Rookie training camp. I love that analogy. It's getting its reps in.
But the myth that they will never get sick in kindergarten, that's false. They will still get sick. They just might recover a bit faster because their baseline immune response is more mature. But we really need to stop using the kindergarten protection myth to dismiss how incredibly hard the first year of daycare is for working parents right now.
Absolutely, because it doesn't help the parent who is staring down a Tuesday morning meeting with their boss holding a toddler with a 101 fever, right? Which brings us to the sick day decision tree.
Oh, the mental gymnastics of the morning sick day decision.
It is a high-stakes logic puzzle at 6:30 a.m. Like, okay, the snot is green, but he's eating. The fever was 99.8, but he feels warm. Is it teething? Is it a cold? Is it the plague?
Yes, is it the plague? Yes. And the stress is so high because you're weighing your job security against your child's well-being and the daycare's policies.
So let's break down a logical guide to this, from our experience both in coaching families and from when we operated the daycare. What is the golden rule for keeping them home?
Well, the most obvious one is the fever rule, which is pretty standard across the board. If your child has a fever of 100.4 or higher, they stay home, period. And they need to be fever-free without medication for 24 hours before they go back.
Right, without medication. Let's emphasize that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because back when we ran the daycare, we used to see what we called the Tylenol drop and dash.
The drop and dash.
Parents would give the kid Tylenol at 7 a.m., drop them off at 7:30 looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then right around 11:30 a.m. when the meds wore off, boom, the kid crashes, they're burning up, they're crying, and we'd have to call the parents at work anyway.
It's so tough because on one hand, I have so much compassion for how desperate parents are to get to work. I really do. But on the other hand, masking a fever doesn't mean they aren't contagious. You're exposing the staff, you're exposing the other kids, and honestly, your little one just feels miserable.
Yeah, from a behavioral standpoint, which is what I always look at with the families we work with, a sick child's behavior is usually the biggest tell. Even if there's no fever, look at their demeanor.
Yes, exactly, the demeanor test.
Right. If your kid has a runny nose, but they're bouncing off the walls, eating their waffles, and fighting you over putting on their shoes, they are probably fine to go. A mild, lingering cold is just a reality of daycare. But if they are lethargic, clingy, whining at every little thing, or they just look glazed over,
You know the look.
you definitely know the look, that glassy-eyed, droopy look. If they have that, they need to stay home, even if the thermometer says 98.6. Their body is fighting something hard, and putting them into a highly stimulating environment like daycare is just going to lead to a total behavioral meltdown by noon.
And that's the thing. Daycare is exhausting for a toddler on their best day. It's loud, it's bright, there are transitions, sharing, rules. If they are feeling subpar, they cannot handle that environment. And from the provider side, past experience tells me that when a kid is sent in sick, they usually end up needing one-on-one care, which pulls a teacher away from the rest of the group.
Exactly. So, decision tree. 100.4 fever? Stay home. Vomiting or diarrhea in the last 24 hours? Stay home. Unexplained rash? Stay home. Lethargic and not acting like themselves? Stay home.
But clear snot and occasional lingering cough from a cold they had a week ago and normal energy levels, send them. If we kept kids home for every single sniffle, no one would ever go to daycare from October to April.
That's the truth. Okay, so we've established when they need to stay home. Let's pivot to the hardest part, the parents. How do we survive this without losing our jobs or our minds?
Oh, the working parent backups. This is where the communication breakdowns happen so often in marriages.
Yeah, in our coaching sessions, I would say 80% of the conflict we see around this issue stems from the fact that couples don't have a plan before the kid gets sick. They wait until 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, both staring at their calendars, arguing over whose job is more important that day.
Yes, well, I have a presentation. Well, my boss is already mad at me. It becomes a competition of stress.
It really does, and resentment builds so incredibly fast. We worked with a couple last year, let's call them the Ramirez family. They had an 18-month-old, and every time the child got sick, it defaulted to the mom to stay home, not because her job was less demanding, but because she felt guiltier.
The mom guilt factor is huge here.
Huge. She felt guilty about the baby being sick, so she took on the burden. But then she was incredibly resentful of her husband because he would just grab his briefcase and say, "Hope he feels better," and walk out the door.
Ouch, yeah, that's a recipe for a massive argument later.
Exactly. So in our sessions, we had to build practical strategies to coordinate this. The very first thing we recommend to families is the Sunday night sync.
Oh, I love the Sunday night sync. It is a game changer.
It really is. Every Sunday night, you sit down with your partner and you look at the week ahead. You literally flag the unmissable blocks. So if I say, "Edna, I have a massive client pitch on Wednesday from 10 to noon. I absolutely cannot miss it." And you say, "Okay, I have a required training on Thursday afternoon." We mark those.
Right.
So if the kid wakes up sick on Wednesday morning, there is no argument. I already know I cannot miss my 10 a.m., so you are taking the morning shift.
And the word shift is key there. Shift work. You don't have to take the entire day off if you can tag team.
Yes! Explain how that works, because I know you talk to families about this all the time.
Oh, absolutely. So parents often think of a sick day as an all-or-nothing 8-hour block. But if you both have jobs with a little bit of flexibility, and I know not everyone does, but if you do, split the day. One parent takes the morning shift, say from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The other parent works uninterrupted. Then at 1 p.m., you swap. The first parent logs on and works into the evening, and the second parent takes over the childcare.
It minimizes the disruption.
Exactly. You're both getting a solid 4 or 5 hours of focused work done. You're keeping your boss happy, or at least appeased, and neither parent feels like they are carrying the entire weight of the sick day alone. It feels like a team effort.
I think that team effort feeling is what saves the marriage during the first year of daycare.
100%. And you have to communicate with your employer early and clearly. I always tell the families we work with, do not over-apologize and do not over-explain.
Ooh, say more about that. That's a great point.
Women especially tend to write these long, sprawling emails to their managers. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Billy has a fever. He was up all night. The doctor says it's a virus. I feel terrible doing this."
Right, the life story.
The life story. Just say, "My child is sick and cannot attend childcare today. I will be offline from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., but will be monitoring urgent emails and will be back online this afternoon. Thank you for your flexibility." Boom. Professional boundary setting.
That is brilliant. It projects confidence instead of chaos, and it trains your employer to realize that you have this handled.
Exactly. And listen, we also have to talk about outside backups, because spouses tag teaming is great, but sometimes you both have unmissable days.
Yeah, the dreaded double-booked sick day.
It's a nightmare. This is where you have to build your village before the village is on fire.
Yes, we had a family we were coaching. Let's call them the O'Connors. They moved to a new city, no family around. They were constantly struggling when their daughter got sick. We had to help them strategically build a backup list.
How did they do it? Because that's a really common hurdle for parents who don't have grandparents down the street.
Right. Well, first, we had them look into drop-in sick care centers. There aren't everywhere, but some cities have pediatric clinics or nanny agencies with on-call sick care nannies. Yes, it costs money, it's an investment, but if it saves your job on a critical day, it might be worth having them vetted and registered ahead of time.
That's a great point. It's like insurance.
Exactly. The second thing was building a sick day swap with another daycare family.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, they connected with another family at their daycare who had a child in the same room, which means if there's a bug going around, both kids probably already have the same strain anyway.
The same 200 strains.
Right. So they made a pact. If both kids are excluded for, say, hand, foot, and mouth, which is the absolute worst, by the way.
Oh, the worst. Shudders.
If they both have it, instead of 4 parents missing a whole week of work, they take turns. One parent watches both spotty toddlers on Monday, another on Tuesday. They pooled their resources.
That is incredibly smart. It requires some trust, obviously, but when you are in the trenches of that first year of daycare, you bond with other parents fast.
You really do. Shared trauma.
Seriously! But I want to add one more thing about surviving this season, especially the emotional side of it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because when we do coaching with families, especially the moms who are just weeping with exhaustion, I always remind them that this phase is temporary. The first year of daycare is notoriously brutal. You will feel like you are constantly failing at work and failing at home. The laundry's piled up, you're wiping noses with one hand and muting a Zoom call with the other.
Yep.
But it ends. By year 2, their immune systems have leveled up. By year 3, you're cruising. You just have to give yourself grace right now. Order the takeout, let the house be messy. If your kid is watching an extra hour of a cartoon so you can finish a spreadsheet while they recover from a fever, you are not ruining their development. You are surviving.
That is such a vital message, Edna. Because we see the behavioral toll it takes on the parents. And guess what? When the parents are completely dysregulated from stress and guilt, the toddler picks up on that energy.
Absolutely. They act out more.
Exactly. The kid is already feeling physically crummy, and then they sense that mom and dad are stressed and frantic, which makes the child more clingy, more whiny, and more prone to tantrums. So lowering your own stress levels, radically accepting that this is a messy season, actually improves your child's behavior while they're homesick.
Radical acceptance. I love that. Just lean into it. Snuggle on the couch, lower your expectations for productivity, and just get through the day.
All right, I think we've covered some really solid ground here. Let's wrap this up with our key takeaways for today's episode.
I'll start. Number 1, the immune boost is real in terms of exposure, but it's not a magical shield. Your child's immune system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do by fighting off all these new germs. Don't panic. They aren't uniquely fragile. They're just rookies in the germ world.
Perfect. Takeaway number 2, use logic, not guilt, for the sick day decision tree. Fever over 100.4, vomiting, or major behavioral lethargy means they stay home. Do not do the Tylenol drop and dash. But if it's just clear snot and normal energy, send them with confidence.
And takeaway number 3, have a plan before the morning fever hits. Do the Sunday night sync with your partner to flag unmissable work blocks, try working in shifts to share the load, and set clear, unapologetic boundaries with your employer.
Excellent. Well, if you are currently listening to this while wiping a runny nose or holding a sleeping, feverish toddler, we see you. You are doing a great job, and you will get through this first year.
You absolutely will. Hang in there.
Thank you all so much for joining us for this conversation. If you found today's episode helpful, please hit that subscribe button to the Rising Parent Podcast and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps other parents find the show.
And remember, we are here for you twice a week. New episodes of the Rising Parent Podcast are released every Monday and Friday.
That's right. Also, as we mentioned earlier, we created this podcast to help families and to raise funding for our nonprofit mobile food bank, Selfless Outreach.
Yes, if you found value in this episode, please consider donating to Selfless Outreach by going to selflessoutreach.org and hitting the donate button.
Every single donation helps Selfless Outreach serve the underserved in our communities. A link to Selfless Outreach is right there in the show notes for you.
We really appreciate your support, whether it's sharing the podcast or helping out the nonprofit. You guys are the best.
You truly are. Keep rising, parents. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.